Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, this is your good old buddy JP from Kayfabe Chronicles. It's been a long time since I've done one of these little crazy video reviews, but I just got out of the Suicide Squad movie today. So pretty much I'm just going to tell you my views of it. So I apologize from the crudeness of this video. This isn't what I normally like to do. This is just on my camera phone, so just deal with it for now. One day I'll pull out a nice big expensive camera and you can see some production value. So right off the bat, the critics have been kind of crapping all over this movie for really weird reasons. Like a lot of them don't fully understand, I guess, what DC was trying to do with it. They don't understand the whole concept of the whole Suicide Squad storyline. They weren't really feeling for the characters. But you know what? That's fair is fair. It is kind of an obscure storyline. Not many people will know about it. It is a lot of obscure characters that not a lot of people have heard of. Obviously, everyone's heard of Batman. A lot of people have heard of Harley Quinn, Joker, stuff like that. It's like your Deadshot, your El Diablo, things like that, where people aren't going to really fully jump into it. Um, so right off the bat, the thing I liked about this movie, a little bit of a spoiler alert, not too much going deep into storyline wise, but every character has an explanation in the movie. I think that the film did a really good job of explaining everybody's backstory, everybody's previous history of to how we've gotten to this point. Usually with movies like this, like X-Men 3 or anything like that, where they just load as many superheroes into it as possible, and you watch it and you're just completely dumbfounded and baffled to like, what the hell are all these people doing in here? I got no clue. I got no idea of what the hell is going on. I think that this movie really captured the essence of what it is to actually develop character storylines, what it is to actually make you feel for a character. That's one of my biggest pet peeves in movies today, is that you watch a movie and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? I don't know anything about him. Like, yes, if you've read the comic books, you will understand who a lot of these people are just by looking at them. Like, you can look at Superman or Batman or people like that and be like, all right, I know what this guy is all about. So, great thing with this is that they fully explain a lot of the characters' backstory. So when they did have emotional one-on-one parts, you actually did feel for them. Getting on to a little bit more, I think the overall concept of the movie is pretty badass. Like, how often do you get to cheer for the bad guys? Never. Who the hell cheers for the bad guys? Well, me, obviously. I'm one of those weird guys growing up in the 80s. I cheered for the heels in wrestling. I am a bizarre man. So this is finally a movie for those people. Like, yay, bad guys, let's cheer for the bad guys. So right at the beginning, they're all in jail. Don't know why, but they explain it, which is really good. They pretty much focus on each character of who they are and why they are in the jail at that point in time. And that they're all being hired for an essential suicide mission. What's the mission? No one really knows. You have to watch the movie to figure that part out. So essentially, yeah, like each character is fully explained. The part I really enjoy the most is that the fact that every actress in this movie brought their own little something to the characters. Like, Will Smith in typical Will Smith fashion, created who you think Deadshot is. Margot Robbie, phenomenal. I've been a big fan of Harley Quinn since I saw her on the Batman animated series. I've always thought that she is what a true supervillain should be. She's, normal, but she's bizarre as well. And I always wanted to see her on film, and I think it's great that finally, after like 20 plus years, we finally get to see her on camera. And I personally think she knocked it out of the park. A lot of people are giving her a hard time, like review critics wise. Oh, well, you didn't do the Harley Quinn voice. Oh, that's not who we pictured she would be. She took the character and put her own spin on it. And I think she did phenomenal. The moments where she's completely sane and then able to snap to crazy and then back to sane is really hard to do. And not only did she look the part, she sounded the part. I think just out of everything that she possibly did, she was by far the best part of the movie, hands down. No offense, Will Smith, I love you like a brother, but this was definitely her moment to shine in this film. Another real big moment that I really enjoyed in the movie was Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Now, Amanda Waller is one of those interesting characters. If you've read the comics and if you've seen the cartoons, she's a big, scary woman. Like, she is very intimidating. If you look at her, you're like automatically like, holy shit, like, this woman demands my attention. She demands authority. Viola Davis is not a big woman. She is not. But the way she portrayed Waller in this movie, just the way that she looked at the camera, the way she flat out said her dialogue makes you think like holy shit, this woman is the boss. I have to follow every single thing that she says. And she just flat out grips you right at the beginning as soon as she's introduced at the beginning of the movie, putting together the Suicide Squad. And the entire time you're watching, you're like, I don't want to fuck with this woman. A lot of choice moments that she had in the woman. There is a moment where she pretty much goes full apeshit and kills essentially all of her henchmen. Why? Fuck them. That's why. She just doesn't want anybody to know her ultimate plan, and she takes them out simply. Why? Because she's the boss, and you don't fuck with the boss. So kudos to her on completely knocking it out of the park and being one of the best moments of the movie. One of the great character portrayals that I really enjoy is actually El Diablo. You know, he does fall underneath that stereotypical character, usually of like, you know, the pessimist. You know, I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna fight. I'm just gonna lay back. I'm just gonna lay back. And then at the end, they're like, I gotta use my power to destroy everything. Like almost every superhero movie, usually, almost every movie in general, usually has it. But I really felt for his character, like, you know, like him explaining, you know, like them explaining his entire past of how, you know, he accidentally killed his family with his power, and essentially because of that he, you know, decided, I can't do this anymore. I don't want people to get hurt anymore. That he laid back for the entire movie, but then when it came to the point at the end, you know, where he had to use his power to essentially save the day, he wasn't afraid to do it. I really felt for his character. Like, you know, I felt kind of like the raw emotion of why he's trying to do good, but in the end, you know, he has to do what's right for the goodness of the group by sacrificing himself. And see, in my opinion, he was probably the most well-rounded character out of all of them. I really enjoyed the way he looked with all the facial tattoos, the way he was portrayed, and then just the overall feel of his character. I'm hoping that if there is a sequel, even though he technically, you know, died in this one, I'm hoping that, you know, they do find a way to bring him back, because, you know, he does blow up, but how can something made of fire blow up? So I'm really hoping that he is to come back if they do go ahead with the sequel, because I really enjoyed what he had to bring. Captain Boomerang. What can I say about Captain Boomerang besides probably one of the funniest characters in the whole movie? He's your stereotypical Australian stereotype, you know, with like, you know, with like the ridiculous like mohawk and the mustache, and I'm really glad that they kept the mutton chops on him. Like in the comic book, he has, you know, like in the cartoon, he has really big mutton chops. I'm glad they really kept that, and I just love that like every moment he's drinking like a Foster's beer. Like, how much more stereotypical can you get than having just an Australian guy drinking a Foster's beer? And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he was wearing a rugby jersey underneath his trench coat. I'm not 100% on that one. But if he is, that's freaking balls to the wall. All things considered, I do enjoy, like, his character was just kind of like secondary comic relief in the background, and at the end, everybody gets, like, you know, what they want. They all asked for like a reward at the end, and he's just like, screw you, I want to be free. Oh, you'll be free. And then she just locks him up in like this small ass hole, and, you know, it's kind of like, you know, he got what was coming to him sort of thing. But I really enjoyed the way his character was portrayed. One thing I've always kind of liked about, like, you know, like all these movies, like, you know, where you get a group of people together and, like, you know, oh, we're gonna like attach bombs to your head and stuff like that. You know, there's always that one guy that's you know, like, you know, I don't believe you, screw this, and then boom, you know, they blow up. Like, you always get like that one non-believer that just gets killed right off the bat. And of course, this was no different. It kind of sucks that it was Slipknot. It's kind of predictable that you knew it was going to be Slipknot, though, because he had really no thing in the movie. Like, you know, yeah, he's on the poster briefly, but like he's not really in the trailers. At the beginning, when they're establishing the team, they kind of have, like, you know, each segment of each character, like, you know, boom, you know, Deadshot, boom, Harley Quinn, you know, Killer Croc, and then like just Slipknot just shows up like, hey guys, how's it going? So you're like, well, geez, you're like the total red shirt of this thing, and sure enough, yeah. A lot of my beefs with the storyline per se is, like, you know, you bond together as the Suicide Squad. All of the villains kind of get together. They're all, you know, hey, you know, we're bad guys. But there's no building of a team. You know, it's pretty much, hey, we're villains. We don't really know each other, and now we're family. Yay! That was one of my big beefs that I had with it, is that they didn't really grow to form a team, really. They were just kind of placed in there, and then all of a sudden they're all working together. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they bond. Maybe there was a deleted scene of like a training montage or something. I don't know. It wasn't in the cut I saw. But I think that they could have added that in there just to make it a little bit more believable on that aspect. I do like the fact that all the characters did kind of get their shining moment in the sun during the film. Like during the big, like battle scene at the end, you kind of got to see everybody's individual powers and how they would contribute to the team, which I think was really, really cool. Couple great shining moments for me. The CGI on Enchantress at the beginning, when she's still the Enchantress, I think was really well done. Now here's the big spoiler alert. She's the main villain. Thing I really kind of didn't get with the whole Enchantress as the main villain thing is it's just the way they kind of brought it around. Like at the beginning, she's part of the Suicide Squad. Like I understand that, like you're thinking like how is she being controlled? She has ultimate phenomenal powers, and like you do find out in the movie that essentially like her heart is the key to her power, much like how the head in Sleepy Hollow, like whoever owns the head controls the Headless Horseman. Whoever owns Enchantress's heart controls her. So Amanda Waller actually owns Enchantress's heart, so she's able to control her. But it's just like the whole premise of like Enchantress is like, I don't want to be controlled, so I'm gonna summon my brother, and now I'm gonna take over the world. Like it just kind of seems like a really weird, going from like side A to side B, just so extremely. You go from, just essentially like Magic Caster to just I'm taking over the world because I just want to aspect, and that was really bizarre for me. Ultimately, like she is probably if I was to pick any of the characters in the film, I would pick her to be the main villain because she does have the most power essentially out of all of them. And once you actually see how it all ties together, it does make a lot of sense. It was just really weird just how it was done in the movie, but once it all pieced together, it was like, oh, I can see what you mean by that. Well done, DC. I'm the Enchantress. I'm going to take over the world. Why? Because I just don't like it. Other great shining moments for me was I've always been a fan of makeup, puppetry, just non-computer special effects, like just the old school, like Jim Henson style, Rick Baker stuff like that. And Killer Croc blew me away in this movie. His overall look, like you assume that with modern day thing, like I'm gonna be completely CGI. This dude had makeup on the entire film. And even during his fight scenes where he would like pick up a guy and break him and throw him across the screen, you could see the different movements in his body. I would have really enjoyed it during like the big ending fight scene of like Killer Croc would have like ripped off like a guy's arm and started beating him with it. That would have been pretty cool. So like with all that, I just wish Hollywood would go back to like a lot more use of animatronics, a lot more use of like makeup and like prosthetics, stop motion animation, stuff like that. Like I understand CGI has a place. We're not gonna like nuke an entire town. For the good old call film. Because unfortunately that's not in the budget, so it's easier just to click buttons and make it happen that way. But I just think that the entire movie industry now is steering way too much towards CGI and not enough of some of the good old techniques that we used to see a lot more. So I was really happy to see like Killer Croc as like makeup. I was really, really, really happy with all that. Like what's DC? When you think about DC, you think of like your staples. You think of your Batman and your Superman. Like Superman has Lex Luthor. Batman has the Joker. Now, this movie really isn't focused around the Joker, per se. Like Joker's just kind of a second thought. Like he does have his appearances in this movie. Now, what a lot of people are kind of thinking is like like they're assuming it's more kind of like the attack on like the Arkham, like the cartoon, but in reality it isn't. Yes, it's kind of that concept. So with that, the Joker really isn't featured prominently in this film, which kind of leads me to my beef with it. Like like over the past years, we've had great Jokers. Like, you had like Cesar Romero from the original 1960s series. You have Jack Nicholson, of course. You got the legendary performance of Heath Ledger. I'm just flat out saying I hated The Dark Knight. I did not like that movie, but Heath Ledger fucking killed it in that movie. So all respect to to him on like his phenomenal final performance. I thought he did really awesome as Joker, capturing like the anarchist craziness of the Joker with that role. That being said, though, like Jared Leto, whatever you want to call him, I don't know. With me, he was kind of a hit and miss in this film, in my opinion. Like he looked really cool. Like I like that he had like the tattoos. I like the slicked back green hair. Uh, the metal grills was kind of an interesting take. Just I didn't really get the way he was portraying the character. Like he was kind of like the gangster Joker with the psychoticness, but I wasn't seeing like any more of the other one, I guess, to kind of like do like a full character out of it. Like I don't know, just something about his portrayal. Like I guess maybe it's because he wasn't featured in the movie a lot. Like he was only in it for less than a quarter of the movie, so maybe I can't really pass a full judgment. But in my opinion, out of everybody in the movie, he was the one character that I didn't really go complete gaga ape shit over. Like he was just kind of there for me. And like no offense to him, I think he's a phenomenal actor. If you haven't seen Dallas Buyers Club, check it out. He's absolutely phenomenal in it. Um, just yeah, I don't know. Just something about the Joker in this movie just didn't sit right with me. Like it's not horrible, but compared to the other stuff in the movie, it was probably like one spot that really rubbed me the wrong way, and I think they could have did a lot more with it. I love at the end though that they have kind of set up the sequel, so he does break in and he does save Harley Quinn, and they break out together. So obviously they are going to continue with this. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in a more prominent role in the second one if they do go ahead with that. But yeah, just overall, I feel that it kind of was a wasted role for me. I think they could have done a lot more with him. So yeah, that's my beef with the Joker. So all in all, was it an amazing movie? No. Was it a crappy movie? No. All in all, it was a nice action-packed summer blockbuster superhero film. It's exactly what I expected it to be. I was happy with the overall storyline. I was happy with most of the characters. I was happy, just with pretty much what it was meant to be. Like, just good balls to the wall action. In fact, I'm probably going to see it a second time just because, it was just one of those movies where I was like, hey, you know what? I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and I think it deserves a lot better praise than what it's been getting from the critics. So, if you want to do yourself a favor, go check it out. Go in, just expecting a nice, fun time. It's visually appealing. Storyline's great. The dialogue is great. Lots of cool stuff going on. Is it going to win Academy Awards? Probably not. Is it going to change your life? Probably not. It's still a great movie. Go check it out. I recommend it. So yeah, that's my beef on Suicide Squad. Hope you enjoyed sitting through it, and yeah, I will see you all next time.